So if this video shows up for you, if you're being recommended content by people like me, you probably need to forgive yourself over something, right? And this is no shade at you at all, because I am the king of just like getting emotionally hurt and taking it on the fucking chin over and over again and never doing shit about it. But my promise to you is that today, through this video, you're going to learn what to do about it. And I'm no expert, I'm no psychologist, I'm just someone who's dealt with this a lot, so I tried to learn, and these are the kinds of things that work for me. So, first of all, what you need to know is that just like skin, whenever we are emotionally hurt, we start to form this thicker tissue around it, right? Like I was playing with throwing knives when I was a kid, and one came back, scratched me right on the wrist, cut to the bone. That's why I have now this scar tissue that's thicker, and I can't really feel it right there. Whenever you're hurt like that, and something cuts you to the bone emotionally, you also form this thick scar tissue, which means that you can't feel as much, which is sometimes good, right? Because it can protect you from things like that weren't even slights in the first place, things that were never meant to emotionally hurt you. It protects you from that. But what happens is when it happens again and again, and you form this really thick scar tissue, almost a shell, now it's no longer a skin that protects you. It's a shell that keeps others out, specifically other people in a similar role to the person who hurt you. So if it was like for example, this is why there are some women who are like, fuck all men are trash, right? Like, who hurt you? Like, that's probably exactly what happened, is they were hurt like by either their father or some boyfriend or some man in their life who's filling the same role as other men coming into her life. So when that happens excessively, right, you get emotional damage again and again and again. It gives you this fucked up self-image, right? Whenever you think of yourself in a way that's not quite right. You start to believe that you just don't get along with other people, that you are somehow different and not accepted in the world. And this is a shit mindset to have, honestly, in a world that operates fundamentally interdependently, right? As much as there are people on their lone wolf fucking grind set, bro, like, we are an interdependent world. So we all work with each other to make shit happen. Economically, right? Like, I didn't have to figure out how to make a journal. I just bought this. Someone else is the expert journal maker. I just use money to buy it. Economically, we're interdependent, but also in every area of relationship, right? I rely on my friends to help get me through the day. When I had a partner, I relied on my partner to help me with daily shit. You do this with family, friends, literally everybody. And the crazy part is the world is just a reflection of your own mind. I'm going to say that, and no one's going to take it fucking seriously, but think about that for a second. The world is just a reflection of your own mind, what you perceive. So if you are perceiving the world to be something that is hostile, where people are negative, it's going to be that way to you, right? Because that's how you're expecting the world to be. That's the kind of vibe that you're putting off. So you're going to get that back. The goal for everyone in this, to get away from this side of things, right, where the world is hostile, is to become self-fulfilled. And what this means is that you see yourself as well-liked. You have a high degree of self-acceptance. So you know who you are, the good and the bad, and you're okay with that. And you also see yourself as being at one with others. So the exact opposite of this side, meaning you feel like you're in community. You feel like you are part of the people around you. And that's all great, that's grand, but how do you actually get there? First of all, the first thing you have to do to stop getting hurt so often is to develop this sense of self-esteem, right? Easier said than done, but think about this. The people with the lowest self-esteem are the ones who always are defensive about shit, right? It's kind of hard to be around them sometimes because they're always speaking up about something, or you're always scared to say something because they might take it the wrong way. These are people with low self-esteem. And not everyone is the kind to speak up and be like defensive about it, but people with low self-esteem always are the ones who get hurt again and again by things that aren't even slights, things that aren't even meant to hurt them. This is probably the camp that you were in. I know I was there for a long time. What you can do to start building this self-esteem so that these things don't hurt you anymore, right? Someone's joking around and calling you a fake friend, like, that doesn't actually hurt your feelings. You can realize it's a joke, it's just a joke. The first thing, you can start adopting a self-reliant attitude. What this means is you meet your own emotional needs by going out in the world. Yes, the world is interdependent, and yes, we have to depend on other people because we have a need to give and receive love. And of course, you need other people to do that, but you know that you can make it happen. That's what it means to be self-reliant. So, and also realizing that you don't deserve love and acceptance, right? It's a really cool thought. It sounds great to think that everyone deserves love and acceptance, but if you are being an actively shit guy, you don't deserve for anyone to love you, right? Like, I mean, being genuinely mean and not understanding and not loving towards other people. But when you start to open yourself up and you start to give love, give acceptance, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, you are going to start getting it back in return. It's only the people who think they deserve it and then don't do the shit for it and then expect it to come their way, then they're disappointed again and again and again because they have a view of reality that is impossible. It's not going to happen. And so, of course, they're going to be let down over and over again. But if you have this view of there's so much love and acceptance in the world, my job is just to be the first to show it. You are going to get it back every time. Next, relaxing is going to help you not get hurt by these things anymore. And it's going to help you start to develop even more self-esteem, right? Just being more relaxed, because think about every time you have tension present in your body, it's a lot easier to get hurt. Like I'll use the example of a friend of mine. I jokingly called him a fake friend, like I brought up that example earlier, because he didn't show up to one of my parties. He didn't say anything, so I was like, fake friend. And he called me and he was like really upset. He was like, bro, what? How? I'm not a fake friend. I'm sorry, I forgot. And I was like, dude, I'm 100% joking right now. I hope you know that was not serious at all. But he took it that way. He took it that way because he was already stressed out at his job. He was already stressed about this breakup that he was going through. So maybe that was on me. Maybe I shouldn't have touched on something sensitive while he was going through a breakup and a hard time. But live and learn, man. Live and learn. But it's always, every single time, whenever you are already stressed out, when you are already having self-doubt, that some perceived slight, right? It's probably not even actually a slight, but something comes at you and it actually fucking hurts, right? You're joking with the boys and this time they went too far. It's because you already had some kind of anxiety or tension present. So you can start relaxing that away by realizing that you have it, right? Anytime that you start to realize that you are in this form of tension, you can start to breathe in, consciously relax every single muscle, right? Take that deep belly breath into the balls that I talk about. When you do this, things don't hit you as hard, because when you are in a relaxed state, psychologically, when every muscle is relaxed, you cannot feel a negative emotion. It's just not how it works, right? There has to be some form of tension present for you to start feeling negatively. And so when you combine this with the fact that it's not other people's words that hurt you, it's your reaction. Because think about it, if you were wearing earmuffs and some guy was just saying actively like things that would hurt your feelings, mad shit. He's talking mad shit about your fucking kicks, bro. He starts saying that shit and you're like, my shoes aren't that whack. Like that's what you would be thinking, but you have earmuffs on. So you don't hear it. It doesn't offend you. It doesn't even come at you. Like, you don't hear it in the first place, so you're not upset. But if you take the earmuffs off, that's when you get upset. So it's not other people's words that are hurting you. It's your perception. It's the way that you are taking them, right? And if you start to be more relaxed, if you relax through it, right, you're not going to get hurt, because it's not the words that hurt you, it's your reaction. And that's an incredibly powerful thing. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is removing the scars that you already have, right? You already have this somewhat fucked up self-image. If you believe that you are different from other people, if you believe that you just don't get along with people, right? You probably already have been through a lot of shit, and you already have a lot of emotional scarring. Now you know going forward how to do that less and less and less, right? Now that you are relaxed, now that you are building up your self-esteem by first giving love, but removing the old scars, The only way that you can do that, hence the video title, is with forgiveness. That's the only way that you can remove past emotional scarring. And not just any forgiveness, right? Not this forgiveness to act superior, not this forgiveness to feel better about yourself and put yourself on a pedestal and think, I'm so good and they're so bad because they wronged me. 100% forgiveness. This means acting as if it never happened. Not only that it never happened, but acting as if there was no forgiveness to give in the first place. The whole incident wiped clean. That is the only way that you are going to be able to move forward from this emotional scar. And I'm not always going to say that it's the right thing to do or that it's the easy thing to do, but it's going to be the thing that makes you the happiest every single time. And you don't have to associate with this person anymore, right? You can cut them out of your life, but just forgiving them is going to allow you to move on emotionally, right? And trust people again and start giving this love out freely. Whenever you forgive people to feel owed or superior, right? You keep this grudge. And this is just going to worsen the wound because you're not going to feel like the grudge is being paid back, right? It's going to keep going and keep going. And in this fucked up way, it kind of feels good, right? To lick your own wounds, to keep these grudges. And this is why killing with kindness doesn't work, right? I used to be really into the thought of, I'm just going to be so kind to someone. I'm just going to be so kind no matter how shit they are to me, but I'm going to hold this grudge because I am better than them. But by thinking that, it only is keeping the fact that I think I am better than this person, which I'm not, because this person is not their mistakes. I am not my mistakes. I am just a person who makes mistakes, and they are a person who makes mistakes. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't make them this mistake. It means they did this at this time, and I'm moving on. This is the way that you have to think about it so that you can move on. The thing is, it's really hard to do, and something that can be even harder to do is forgiving yourself in the same way. Because most of the time, I'll be honest, bro, it's not other people who are coming at you saying shit. It's your own mind bringing up thoughts about you're this shit guy because of this reason. You fucked this up. You are a fuck up. When you stop attributing your mistakes to character and start looking at them as a matter of fact, it's going to be easier to move on. It's also closer to the truth, right? Because just because you fucked up one time, just because you fucked up over and over again in the past, doesn't mean you're going to again. But if you believe that you are, you're going to. Because your subconscious mind works that way, right? You set a goal for it, negative or positive, it's going to achieve it. So if you forgive yourself in the same way and you think, I am not a fuck up, I just did this mistake, factually, and now I'm going to move on, then you're going to move on. And it's easier said than done, but emotions there's no such thing as a right and wrong emotion, right? There's only correctly used and incorrectly used emotions. And the way that to know if it's correctly or incorrectly used is if it's helping you in the present moment. And this guilt and this regret that you are hanging on to about the past is your way to try and change the past. And you can't fucking do that. You can't change the past, bro. It happened. But living with guilt and regret today is making your present moment worse. It's making you a worse person to be around, right? For other people, you're bringing this negative energy because you feel shit about yourself. It's making your life harder in the present moment, so it's not an appropriate emotion. You have to let go of this guilt and regret by realizing it's not doing you any good. Once you stop labeling yourself as a shit guy, as a person who fucks up, you're going to be able to move on from it. You're going to be able to forgive yourself because you aren't a shit guy, bro. So you have to live in this happy medium, right? Of having this thick skin, right? Thick enough that people are going to say shit. Like maybe someone does come at you and it doesn't even bother you because you know that you have people who love you. You know that you're a sick guy. You know that you aren't your mistakes. You just make them sometimes. But also, you can't have this thick shell where you cut other people out, or else you are going to start feeling like you are so alone. Like I was in high school, bro. If you have heard my story about how like fucked up I thought the world was in high school, right? And I was so cut off from other people. I thought that no one else would like me. I was so different. That's exactly where I was because I had this outer shell of being emotionally scarred over and over again. You have to soften the shell, but you have to have a skin thick enough with self-esteem, right? And relaxation to be able to let this shit roll off. So this is a very dense video, I know, but take that shit to heart. Use your deep belly breaths. Breathe into the fucking balls, bro, every time something starts to bother you. That's the biggest takeaway that you can take away from this. And journal, man. Start thinking about your past and the things that you need to forgive yourself and other people for so that you can move on. If you don't already know me, my name is Grenoble. I help young men become the social celebrity versions of themselves. And by the end of this year, 5,000 young men are going to become social celebrities. That is our goal. If becoming part of a gang that values social skills and becoming a better version of yourself and not living a mediocre life sounds like something you want to be a part of, go ahead and hit subscribe right now. Act now, brother, and become unstoppable.